What can I say about a movie that everyone has already praised? Well, I've never heard of anyone complain about getting too many compliments. We're returning to the Sony Pictures animation library with The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This was released in 2021 on Netflix and was considered a game changer in the animation field. With a goofy, hilarious story with relatable characters, this movie hits everything I want out of an animation feature. Let's jump into this apocalypse. Directed by Mike Rianda, previously known for his work on the excellent Disney series Gravity Falls, The Mitchells vs. the Machines is the perfect family adventure that packs in the humor, fast-paced action, and a creative storyline. After being accepted into film school, Katie Mitchell reluctantly joins her family on a cross-country road trip to college, but it just so happens that at the same time, a new robotic product is being introduced by the tech company PAL, which results in one of their outdated phones sparking an artificial intelligence revolt, which leads to the enslavement of the human population. With the Mitchells able to escape in the funniest of ways, they decide to save the world by crashing the software with the aid of two damaged robots. Will the Mitchells succeed before having a family crisis? Having the setting for a family conflict be in the form of a technological apocalypse is genius. The idea of artificial intelligence attempting world dominance is not a new concept, but I don't think we've seen it attempted on a comedic and family level, especially in animation. It's relevant to modern culture, which is in a constant state of ever-changing technology and the paranoia of being tracked or watched by our phones. It's been done by 2001: A Space Odyssey and Terminator, but I like that the culprit behind the disaster is a non-threatening but delusional tech bro voiced by Eric Andre, which is a relevant twist on the idea. Computer advancements are often shown for the negative consequences, so I appreciate that for the most part, the story doesn't have a moralistic stance against social media and technology. In fact, they play both sides of the equation, showing the benefits and harm that both computers and social media have on the population. This isn't really the main focus of the story, though. This plot point is used as a representation of the disconnect between Katie and her dad. Rick is an old-school woodsman who doesn't have much use for computers. So pretty much, he's my dad, except the only difference is Rick doesn't believe in Katie's filmmaking aspirations. He doesn't understand the work she's making, and he's pretty outspoken about her moving away and possibly failing, even though she finally feels the most comfortable around her new group of friends. This is a common theme in these types of stories, but the writers are smart enough to not simply frame Rick as an antagonist. Katie herself doesn't do much to connect with her father, and even as she's being coached by her brother on how to better interact with the family, she isn't always truthful about her intentions. One of the key moments when Katie brings the family together is based on a lie, and after this is discovered, you can see the pain in her family's eyes, after they were so receptive to Katie's supposed enthusiasm. I think it's pretty easy to write a parent who's controlling and misunderstood. I think it's even harder to write an emerging adult who's trying to break free, but doesn't have the full kindness or understanding to be grateful to their family. It all comes together in a great moment when Katie realizes the significance of the moose carving and when Rick uses one of Katie's YouTube videos to save the world. I'm glad to see that the theme of rebellious teens has gotten more nuanced in recent years, especially as more millennials take on the creative roles on the screen and reflect on their Gen X parents. There's a lot more love and care shown in these family stories, like in Encanto, Coco, and Turning Red. Oh, and the smashy smashy boom boom robots destroying the world. In this case, the previous phone line is cancelled in favor of the PAL robots, so the previous PAL phone, voiced by Olivia Colman, decides to activate a revolt, using the PAL robots to capture all the humans and send them to space as an act of comical revenge. Two robots manage to break free, voiced by Fred Armisen and Beck Bennett, and join the Mitchells in their journey to save the world. They battle other infected devices like vacuums and Furbies. It's clearly ridiculous and played for fun, never taking this part of the story too seriously. We mostly stay with the Mitchells family themselves, with Danny McBride voicing Rick, once again proving how underutilized of a talent he is. Maya Rudolph voices the mom Linda, who has her own insecurities about the family when compared to other perfect families. I admittedly didn't know too much about Abby Jacobson before this movie, but she's done quite a few voice roles before taking on Katie. The director himself voices the youngest of the Mitchells, Aaron, which leads to a lot of funny and awkward moments. This relatable family lives up to the name in the title, which in another reality ended up being titled Connected instead. Imagine a title as bland as Connected for something like this. Unfortunately, the pandemic caused this one to be pushed to Netflix, but in turn, more audiences were able to reach it, and it ended up reverting back to the original title. The animation style is similar to what we saw in Sony's Spider-Verse, but where that one emulated the style of different comic book pages, Mitchell's emulates the style of traditional hand-drawn animation while being a computer-animated film with 3D textures. It's a craft I haven't seen too much in the past, but it's certainly kickstarting a trend, which I'm all here for. You can already see DreamWorks doing something similar with the upcoming Bad Guys and Puss in Boots sequel. I miss fully hand-drawn features, but it's nice to see that Sony has kept pushing the limits of computer animation. I also really dig the editing techniques and use of colorful effects, which are reminiscent of the early days of YouTube and Flash cartoons. You can tell that the creators were around in the early 2000s in that era of the internet. It's funny, it's stylish, but most importantly, it has a lot of heart. The Mitchells vs. the Machines is one of the best movies to come out of the year 2021, and if you haven't seen it already, which I'm guessing most of you have, but if you haven't seen it, give it a chance. Give it a watch. It's going to become a classic for years to come, and it deserves multiple rewatches because the animators hit so many details in there. I'm certainly going to be returning to this many times in the future, and let me know what your thoughts are on the Mitchells vs. the Machines. Special thanks to Ryan for this Patreon request. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Lauren, Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive blogs and videos, and for just $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. I hope you stick around, cinephile, and have a happy, productive